Hello and welcome to the Sage of Tarn Alpha version 0.45 April 2020. So to follow up on last time, I've been grinding animations, and this is going to be a short one where I just kind of show them off. Let's jump into it. So as you can see here, we have standing. This has pretty much remained unchanged. Same for walking, same for running, but we have swapped out the over an edge right here with a new animation, which is this one. Oh, there we go. A small rolling. It's nothing fancy, but it's a nice little... We're now changing state and we're now automatically throwing ourselves over this thing. Now it has to be adjusted slightly, because it starts at a little bit of random times at the current moment. There are adjustments to be made to many of them, but this is just to make it very clear when we enter a new state that they have different animations. Alright. Next up, we have sliding. So you can see you have slight change. Swaps back to standing right there. Oops. Don't pretend you didn't see that. Let me show it off in a better spot. Oh, oop. Oh no. He moves his arm slightly and the leg as well. It's not the biggest change, but it's like, you know, it's a small notification. Obviously you can see the falling right there, which I am very satisfied with. It looks quite nice. I think I'm gonna change the dashing as well to mimic a little bit what happens when you're falling, or at least the same general idea that the body doesn't change nearly as much as it does here. Here all of the limbs are dragged behind the orb, whereas here they're still around it, which is the same for when you're falling, as well as when you're sliding and all that sort of jazz. Let's see here. We also have fast travel, which you might have seen before, which is this particular animation. I'm not entirely sure on it yet. I do like it, but I like one concept that I have in it more than the animation itself. Allow me to elaborate. Just jump up here first. This thing is perfect for testing. So, as you can see here, he wiggles. Whatever his animation is, regardless, doesn't really matter too much. But I like the wiggling effect because when we increase the speed, he wiggles a little more. And a little more. And a little more, except now it's to the point where you know, he's moving so fast that he appears to not really be wiggling all that much. And we can move faster again, where you can barely see it. So I want to play around with the faster I go, the more I do whatever animation I'm doing. But it needs to be adjusted because, you know, as we reach the ludicrous level of speed, you can't really see the character anyway, so there's no reason to kind of calculate it at this level. Anyways, grabbing. I have set in motion the things that is needed for grabbing because I kind of want to change it a little bit. Obviously this is looking alright, but we're basically standing on the side of something, which doesn't really feel all that intuitive, so I'm kind of doing a four-way thing for it, so that when you're standing on the ground, you're going to change the animation from standing to a more grabbing stance, but when you're on the side of something, you're going to be hanging off the you're going to be hanging off the wall. And when you are on the roof of something, you're going to be hanging with like one hand grabbing it. Which also ties into the fact that from this position to falling, we kind of have the character flip it 180. Which doesn't really look that great. So actually I'm thinking about having all of the animations, instead of, right now as you can see, they're following the ground quite nicely. The vertical alignment of the character is based on where his feet are standing, right? As you can see, he's pointing a little bit to the off to one side here. And here he's pointing to the left, here he would be pointing to the right. Instead of doing it this way, I'm thinking of doing it so that he always points upwards. Because that will be the natural case here if you can imagine him hanging, you know, hanging from the thing in one arm off to this falling animation. That way his body won't unnaturally twist 180. And it will probably look more as if the animations are blending into each other, even though they technically don't yet. If I ever reach that point too. Yeah. that is the main thing this time to take away from it. Has been a little bit tedious because the animation system I have is not very handy to edit. I'm also considering making a proper editor for it so that I can save, like, you know, save the configurations. But that requires a little more, you know, technical work. So I haven't looked into that yet. That is basically the small, quick one for this time. Hope you appreciated it. I do like this particular combo here. He switches from all sorts of things. It makes it more smooth in a weird way, now that you can see the differences between each state. And it always surprises me that it does that. But it, like, even me who is very used to it and knowing, you know, the controls and where to go and how to fly correctly, it still affects me to see this and then, oh, now I swap it over to the other one. So yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching and take care.